good you join the sessions with your laptop so you can try some of these things. Remember that the class is just an hour long, so most of the things I'll be doing, I have to do them very fast, right? I have to do them really, really fast. And I hope if you have any question, right? If you have any question during the session, just make sure you indicate on time. And from my end, I think I will have to quickly put on some backups. Can't trust Nigerian power supply and the internet, so I have to quickly turn on some internet backups just in case. I think I have 2 networks now. I have to make it 3. 1 minute. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I have my backup all set. So what I'm going to do right now, I have my terminal open. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Firebase. Then we can just move through some of the offerings that Firebase is giving you for free, and some others are paid as well. Okay, so I just like to quit some of these applications because of the performance of my system. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is fine. All right, so basically, let's start by understanding what Firebase is. So I'm going to open Firebase official website. All right, and what we see here is, Firebase helps you build and run successful apps backed by Google and loved by app development teams from startups to global enterprises. So there are so many things you can use Firebase for. I personally, I use it for things like notification, right? Real-time notification, real-time database. But as starters, of course, I would advise you to watch like a couple of videos. I think I would actually have to share some video resources to you guys as well, because probably reading documentation might be difficult for you. But I would always advise you try to go through documentations. I mean, it helps me a lot. I spend more time on documentations than videos because with documentations you see the intentions of the companies and not just what you get from the YouTubers. It's always good to go through like the detail, right? So even if you're watching those videos, try to go through the details on the documentation. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on Get Started. Though I'm signed in already. I already have an account. So just in case you don't have an account, you have to click on Get Started. After going through Firebase, we are also going to try an alternative, right, called Superbase. We won't spend much time with this, but this is even easier to get started with, right? This is more like the open source alternative, right, for Firebase. So I think we're just going to also touch this, at least so you have an idea and you can always, run to different ends. What we're going to do today, basically, with Firebase is hosting a website, right? And in our next class, I'll teach you how to work with the Firebase Firestore, which is more like the document DB or document DB offering, like the NoSQL offering. The reason why we won't be doing the NoSQL or document DB now is because I feel you need to understand some basic things about databases before we just dive into it. I feel we also need to try a couple of things around working with Json, right, and all that. Of course, we've not had enough time, due to the fact that the mentors we have and the instructors we have are quite few. Francis, can you mute yourself? Sorry about that. So due to the fact that the instructors are quite few to take all the classes, but I hope we're able to do a lot within this. I think about 49 minutes we have left. So I'm going to be fast. We're going to build something super easy, super fast. HTML, CSS, then we deploy to Firebase. So all you have to do is click on Get Started, right? So if you're not signed in already, of course, it's going to ask you to sign in. I think I would maybe I would sign out. No, I have like a lot of accounts here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this in another browser, right? So let's just go with Safari. So I'm going to assume I'm just opening this for the first time, right? So I'm going to click on Get Started. All right, so you have to sign in. I'm going to quickly, I don't think I have, honestly, I don't know if this email is correct. Oh, I think so. Uh-huh. Ah, okay, so that's a problem right now because I don't know where this other device is not here. Okay, so I don't think I'll be able to sign into this particular account. Um, is there an alternative? I have no idea what this is. Okay, so what you have to do, what you have to do basically is sign in, sign into your Gmail account. Um, And yeah, once you're signed in, then it's going to take you to the console, right? So it's going to take you to the console. I am already on the Firebase console here, and this is what you get. So you can actually you can have multiple accounts, using your Firebase. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a new project. I don't think there's anything that is so complicated around here. But basically, you can integrate Firebase into a lot of platforms. Whether you're working with JavaScript, iOS development, Android development, and even your backend development. But of course, we're doing front end here, which means JavaScript, right? So we're going to integrate this with JavaScript. One of the things that you have to install. One of the things you have to install. I'm going to share this with you right now. So my terminal is open. Of course, you can also install this using. You can install this using your PowerShell or command prompt for those of you using Windows. Um, if PowerShell doesn't work well for you, you can try Git Bash. I always talk about Git Bash, right? So you can try Git Bash, and I'm going to share again because I think it's quite easier for people to work with from my experience. And you're saying I should increase my screen. I don't understand. Okay, let me expand if that's what you mean. Okay, so I'm going to add a new project, right? I'm going to create a new project, and we're going to call this project, we're going to build a very simple fashion website. Very simple. Maybe a website where we sell, I don't know, maybe cosmetics or something. So let's just call this Amanda. I'm wondering how this name came to my head, but yeah. Amanda. Okay, so let's work with this, Amanda. And I'm going to turn off some of these things. I don't need Google Analytics for this particular project. But of course, you can include this if you want to do things like A/B testing. If it's a long-term project, if it's just like something you want to play around with, of course, you don't need all this. So I'm going to create this project. And you need to understand that this service is it has a lot of free features as well. So for example, I can host this website for free using Firebase. I will be given a custom. I'll be given like a generated URL. Of course, I can add my own custom URL. There are so many other platforms you can use for you can use for hosting, right? You can use you can use Render, you can use Vercel, you can use GitHub, right? There are lots of them, but the advantage of using Firebase is you have your hosting plus a host of other services at your disposal, directly on one platform. So this is what you see, right? This is our project, Amanda. You can click on this drop down to select other projects. Let me just do a quick overview of what we have here, right? So we have the documentation. You can always go to the documentation. I love the documentations, and I feel you should. I believe you should also try to get used to, reading documentation because that's one of the best ways to learn. Then of course you get your notifications here. This is your profile. This is a drop down where you can select other projects or create a new project. You can click on one of these options, to get more like to understand or to learn how to integrate this to your platform if you are working on Unity or JavaScript, which is web, or Android or iOS, right? So you can use these options. So this is just more like a quick tutorial to show you how you can deploy authentication or their Firestore real-time database option. They also have the real-time database and the Firestore database. Quite similar, but with a few differences. They have Crashlytics performance. So I've used Crashlytics in the past, especially during mobile development. To track. You can also use it for web applications, right? Just to track the quality of your deployment. If anything goes wrong when it's in use in production, you can get a feedback, directly if you integrate Crashlytics, right? So they have other tools like cloud messaging, A/B testing. Yeah, so there are lots of things you can do with this. They have some extensions, so they have what we call the storage option as well. You can deploy, videos, images, and all that. And, using some of their extensions, you can resize your images, so there are so many things you can do here. And this should not look intimidating in any way. I mean, it's quite simple. That's why I said you have to always refer back to the documentation, because everything boils down to, the documentation. You want to insert into their Firestore database. How do I achieve that? Back to the documentation. I want to set up authentication. How do I achieve that? Authentication, documentation, right? I want to set up functions. I mean, everything takes you back to the documentation. And trust me, they're quite easy. Of course, machine learning option. I think this is a new. I don't think this is up to like 2 years right now. I think this is a new. I might be wrong, but I think this is new, right? And you need to understand that this is just like a minified version of the main Google Cloud. So they have like the Google Google Cloud Platform, GCP. So you can also check that out, but you don't need that for now, and you're not going to be using that. All right. So from the settings, we can see our project settings. We can see our user permissions, then our usage and billing if we are using a paid option from here. So you can just navigate through this and just get a hang of it. It's not difficult at all, right? You can also upgrade. So you see, it's quite simple and straightforward. Of course, we're going to be working with hosting. So I'm clicking on hosting. But before we host this, let's just quickly come up with very simple website. Very simple website. So I think the first thing, as I said earlier, is you have to install the npm library, the Node.js library for Firebase, right? So that is what I think that's what we should do first. Then we can now generate our project, right? That's what we should do first. It's a very simple command. You just have to run npm install. I think I already have that installed, but this is what you have to do: npm install -g. -g stands for global. So I don't. Francis, can you help me here? Have we introduced? I believe we've introduced Node already, right?
Yeah, Node for the front end. No. Hello. Okay.
Francis, your background is totally bad. Totally bad. Okay, so all right. So let me see your response on the chat. I think we've introduced a little bit of Node, right? We've done that. If I'm not making a mistake, I believe we've done that, right? Please let me know on the chat if you know what Node is. npm and Node. Let me know on the chat. I'm waiting for your feedback, please. Okay. So Adeni, have we discussed anything around Node in the past? Just something very basic. I think we have, right? Oh, okay. Okay. It's fine. I mean, we don't need to dive so deep into Node. I'm just going to tell you what it is, and yeah. So if we talk about npm, Aha, so we had an introduction. Okay, okay. Yeah, so if we talked about npm, definitely we also talked about Node, right? It's once you install Node, you have npm, right? It comes with Node. Um, yeah, okay. So we are going to install the package because that is the package we're going to be using for this deployment. It's quite simple. If you have any question during the session, just drop a question and we'll make sure you understand, what we're doing here. So I'm just going to say npm install -g, and -g here means global, which means you want this to be accessible, not only within a specific project, but generally on your machine. So Firebase tools. So by running this command, which I'm going to share with you, or you can always reflect back to this video. Yeah, so by running this command, you're meant to install Firebase tool. I already have this installed. I won't, for the sake of this session, I would use sudo, but please try to fix this access issue. You don't have to use sudo on your machine. So, but I already have this installed anyways. I'm very sure. Yeah, I already have. So this is just a power. Anytime you see this error about EA access, this is referring to a permission issue. Firebase is not being installed on the global node modules folder. So it's actually a permission issue. You don't have to use sudo. It can be fixed. I'm just doing this because of time, right? So now I have Firebase tools installed or reinstalled, right? Let me clear what I have here. All I did was run one command, so you don't have to be confused. And this is the command that I ran here. So let me share with you. All right. So this is the command I ran here to install Firebase tools. Okay. So now that I have Firebase tools installed, I'm going to set up a project, right, online first. Then I'm going to log in using the Firebase command. It's very simple, Firebase login. But before I do that, let me come back to my screen here, and I'm going to say get started. So you see, by clicking on get started, it's taking me through the step. First off, install Firebase CLI, which is what I just did, right? So I click on next. So it's asking me to log in. So I'm just going to copy this command, right? So let's come back here. I already typed that in, but let me just paste. So Firebase login is going to navigate to the browser and try to log. So of course I'm already logged in as Solomon Mother 97. So I'm already logged in. But if you're not logged in, it's going to take you to the browser. Do some authentication. Then it's going to show you a success page, right? If you're not logged in. Let me see if I can log out. Simply using the logout command. Okay. So I'm going to log in again. So allow Firebase to collect CLI usage, and no, I don't want you to do that. So it's going to take me to the browser, right? So you see I'm on the browser right now. I'm going to select this account, which is what I want to use, allow. So you see we have successfully logged in. So success, logged in. Okay, fine. So that is simple and straightforward, right? So the next thing should be Firebase init. But I want to run this command inside my applications root directory, right? So I need to first create my application. So this is where we're going to have to be, super fast. I'm currently on the desktop. I'm going to create a folder. Let's call this Amanda, right? Amanda. So enter Amanda, and we'll just do Firebase init, right? Which is what you see here. Straightforward, right? Firebase login, Firebase init. We hit enter. So let me also drop it on the chat. Firebase login, Firebase init. Okay. All right. So now when you type in the Firebase init, it gives you like a lot of options you can select through, as I'm doing right now using my up and down arrow keys. I'm going to select. We have two options for hosting. So you see there are lots of options you can choose here, which we are going to cover. We are going to be very fast to this. I would also share documentations and videos. So you read through, you study. You don't have to wait till we teach you everything, because of course this is very wide and we are just going to touch the surface. You have to do the hard work from your hand, right? So this is hosting. I'm going to go with hosting. Okay, configure files for your Firebase hosting and optionally set a GitHub. So I'm using the optional option here. So I'm using this option here because I don't want to make this compulsory. We don't want to do anything around GitHub Actions, which is something about DevOps, right? Just setting up workflows and all that. So we're going to go with this. When you want to select this option, you hit the space key or the space bar to select this option, and you press enter. Then it's asking if you want to use an existing project, if you want to create a new project. I want to use a new project. I want to create a new project. So we're going to call this. Oh, I think we create an existing project. Oh yeah, we did. Okay. So click on next. So Firebase Deploy. Okay, so let's just go to the console, but we're going to use this command at the end of the day. So let's just go to console. I think I created a new project from here, and I want to use this new project, right? I want to use this project. So I am going to cancel this, and I'm going to run this again because I want to use that particular project. So let's go ahead and select hosting, use an existing project. So we have Amanda, right? So I'm going to select Amanda. What do you want to use as your public directory? Of course, public is fine, but it can be SRC. That is your own preferred option. I'll go with public. Configure as a single page application. We write all rules back to index.html. Yes. That is not. This is not what we need to do right now, because we're just using HTML, CSS, and all that. If you are using a framework like React or Vue, you might want to use this option. It depends on your configuration, right? And we're definitely going to use Vue, so you understand what this means. But for now, I'm just going to use no. So set up automatic builds. Well, no, we're not setting up anything with GitHub. We just want something very fast and simple. So we have Firebase, installed or completely set up right now inside the public directory. I'm going to open this with my code editor. Let's zoom in and expand. So if I go to public index, you see we have a lot of things here. I mean, this can be intimidating, but you don't need everything here. This is just coming from Firebase, right? They just initialize this for us. So if we go ahead and open this on our browser, this is what you get, right? So this is basically everything you see here, just for this. But of course, you don't have to touch any of this. So we're going to leave these options, the scripts, because this will aid our deployments, right? We don't have to touch the script. All I'm going to take off right now is the style. We don't need the style. We don't need this style. We don't need the items we have in here. So we just want something plain. I'm going to, So we just want, our body and the style. Okay, so I think this is fine. We don't necessarily need to create a new, you can create your new, your external CSS files. I'm going to do everything in here so we can be fast. We have 30 minutes to come up with something and deploy this project to Firebase. So let's see. I'm going to do this off my head, and it might not be so nice, but the idea is just to show you how to deploy. But at the same time, I want us to deploy something interesting, right? So let's see. Let's code. Okay, so I'm just going to do something really 100 ph. Oops. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so what I'm thinking of right now is having something on the browser, that will take off this whole space with just a model's image and a very big bold text, and then maybe a couple of grid items showing like some kind of cosmetic related items. Okay, so it just entered my head, and I feel we could just come up with something like that. So let's see. For the background image, let's go to I think while we're doing that, I can just, let's see, African models. Okay. Okay, so I think this looks like, I don't know, seeing children there, but I'm going to assume we can use that for, cosmetics, so not bad. Okay, so copy. Is this looking bad? I don't want anything that would. Let's work with this, please. Copy image link. Okay, so yeah, background size. Okay, so content height 100%, width 100%, H1 font size 100px, 100px, font color white. So I don't know the font family just yet. Display grid, place items. I don't think I needed to do place item center on the body. Place item center. Hope I spelled that correctly. Okay, so what we need right now is let's go to Google Fonts. Yeah, so just to make you understand that it's possible to create something very fast, but you don't have to try to model the speed, right? You don't have to model the speed. The idea is how you can utilize the little time you have, come up with something quite interesting. So let's just import this really fast. So import this right here and have the font family right here. That's all I want for now. Okay, so in here we have a div class contents, and we close the div, and inside the div we have our h1, and we have Amanda. I hope I can spell Amanda. I think so. All right, so I think this is well, let's see what we get. Okay, so we have Amanda. So this is just more like the heading. You can scroll. So that is why I was supposed to put this down to this point in here, right? So we can scroll, and this should be a height of 100 VH, so that by default it covers this whole place before you scroll. Let's just assume we have catalog. Catalog. Okay. So some days I'm not so good at spelling. Height another 100 VH, and yeah, 100% is fine. Let's see what if we go ahead and we create the not catalog, but div class catalog. So at the end of the day, I'm going to share this with you. I want someone to make this really interesting. I want someone to put the more like a logo here, put the nav item. Sorry, put like the sign up login, cat icon, profile icon. Try to take up these challenges and come up with something. If you can come up with something. So let's say catalog background color white. So let's see if we refresh this. What do we have? This has taken up some things here. Some things went wrong here. So I think instead I'm going to say the height. Probably, I think pixels will make it work. Of course, I believe pixels. Okay. So I think I get it right now. I get why we're having something like this around here. Yeah, I think I understand. So I understand where the mistake is coming from. So I think instead I'm just going to put in like the grid and a bunch of grid items. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the problem is I did not cover this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. So these are going to like contain just images, simple images of those items we mentioned, and at the same time it's going to be kind of responsive. So we're going to have grid. Of course, you can use Bootstrap or Tailwind if you want to. Display grid, grid template columns. We'll just do repeats, auto fill or auto fits, min max. Let's leave it at 300. pixels, 1FR, gap. This is a gap of 50px, which I feel is too much, so let's go with 40px. So for the grid items, so what I want to show you here is you've seen some kind of shadows that can make, so let's see, CSS shadows. I think I would need to share my bookmarks, some of my bookmarks with you guys. So I have like a collection of amazing, so this is what I'm looking for, get CSS scan, I guess. So you see there are lots of, amazing, I think I like the one made by Stripe. I really use this a lot, right? So let's come back here, add this to the items, right? And we're going to say, we give it a width of 100, maybe like 300px, height 300px. This might not, I don't know. Let's see what it looks like for now. So this is what it looks like, right? I'm just going to do, not here, but I think somewhere around here, border radius of 40px. And also, we added this, but unfortunately this is not working, right? So we said grid template columns, repeat, autofill, min-max, this is okay. So I think we need to do a width of 100% to have this work. Okay, so we have it here, but I think it's kind of like behind the whole thing, which is weird, like really weird. So let's see, push this back in here, yeah, so something is really wrong. If you can spot what is wrong, you can let me know. So this is our content. Let's make this a header. Let's leave this as the header so that we can just try to, right? Okay, come back, refresh. Okay, so now we can scroll. Okay, good. Okay, so for this set of items, we still don't have 100% working, which is quite, I don't know, good. Okay, so let's see why this is not. Let's see. So for the grid item, we said we need a width of, okay, repeat, grid templates, columns, display grid, gap, place items, center, even though I'm sure that is not a problem. This 100% was supposed to work. Okay, so the next thing we can, resort to, of course, is to inspect our elements and just try to fix that real quick. So let's see, inspecting this. So obviously, the grid is at 100%. And 100% seems to look like okay. Okay, so let's see if I have like I'm sure you know what this is going to do, right? Yeah, just to put it in the center like this, put a margin top, like 3 EM. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it this way. You can go ahead and put the items inside if you want to. And I'm going to stop here. But what I want you to do, put like a product item here, maybe like a cosmetic item with maybe like the name, title, description, price. Just think of a way to make it look good, right? Just make it look good. Come up with a button like buy, sell, all this kind of stuff. So let's just try to make this faster. Okay, so we have this right now. Pushing this is going to be very easy because we have already set up everything about Firebase. All I have to do is Firebase Deploy. The same command we saw before we finished, before we finalize the creation of the project on the cloud or on their website, on the Firebase website. So Firebase Deploy is going to deploy every item you have within the public directory, right? So if you click on Firebase.json, you'll get like the configuration or the details of this Firebase setup. You need to understand that what you are doing here is your standard HTML, CSS. You're not using any framework. and it's quite fast. So I think it has been deployed, very fast. We don't have any image or video. Maybe that would have made it a little bit slow, but yeah. So this is quite straightforward. So this is our hosting URL, which means we can access our websites from that URL right now. So this is what we have. We have our website online. Let's see if it's yeah. So of course you don't expect this to be so good because we did not optimize the text, Amanda, for mobile. Of course we optimized these boxes, but the text was not optimized, and that is quite simple to do. You can optimize for different screen size, or you can use so there are some new CSS attributes that I use sometimes. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but you can actually use like the font size. You can use an option that can scale this automatically based on your screen. I think it's better you learn how to do media query for now. So you say at media max width. I think mobile is around 768px for a specific size, right? So you can put in this H in here. And then you have font size of like maybe 30px should be fine, I guess. So if I save, come back here, since this is offline, and I inspect mobile. Okay, so I think that is quite small this time around. So let's go to 60. Let's see. Hope that will not be too big. Okay, so Amanda. Yeah, so I think this is okay, right? Okay, so I think this is fine. So you can go ahead and put in the other stuffs. I think we have these cards, though they are not properly positioned because of the margin thing I did here. Where are you? Yeah, I think because of what I did here. Yeah, of course. Okay, so now we have this, quite simple, quite straightforward. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just, use the remaining time we have to show you a couple of things on the Firebase dashboard. But of course, after making these changes, you can easily go back and do this again. Firebase Deploy. You can also do Firebase Save, so you can preview what it should look like. Let me drop this command on Discord channel. Okay, so I think we have the Firebase serve. And this command is to basically more like do a preview, right? So you're serving this from your local server, right? And you can just preview what it will look like or what Firebase would see this like, right? So you can just do a quick preview. Yes, so this is what I have to show you for now. I think let's go back to the so let me close this. If you need this, I'm just going to drop this link for CSS Shadows. Of course, Google Fonts, where you get your fonts. There are some other places you can get fonts anyways, but I really love Google Fonts because they have enough fonts I think you need, except you need something really custom. You can check out that fonts. The font is also a good option. There are so many font sites, right? So you can download this font and embed it into your project. So these are things I believe you know already at this stage. So let's go ahead and close some of this. And let's inspect what we have here. I'm going to refresh. This is our project, what we've deployed right now. I'm just going to quickly refresh. Then I'll do a very quick introduction to the Firestore. Just a quick introduction because I don't want to, make it so complicated for you right now. Trying to go through every single thing here at a time. I don't think that's a good idea. But what we have right now is this is our website, right? This is what you see. This is our website. What we just deployed. You can add a custom domain name if you want to. You can add a custom domain name from here. You can actually purchase a domain name as well. Maybe I should try to show you how this works. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to show you. We're going to deploy this to Amanda. .popuniverse.org. Okay, so let's see. Amanda.topuniverse.org. Let's continue. I think maybe we have to get. So this is quite simple to do. You just have to add this txt record, right? Which I'm going to do off the screen. I hope I can do that really fast. Yeah, but it's quite easy. So what you have to do if you use like a cPanel, for those of you that probably purchase your domain name from Google Host or third-party hosting services, maybe like GoDaddy, right? If you use platforms like that, all you have to do is open your DNS. It's called DNS records, right? So you can just check it out or probably do a Google search on how to do that. So you just have to open your DNS records and then add this to the record, right? This is a text record. So we're not really doing like hosting. This is not a hosting session, and I don't want to dive deep down into this, but just so you know how easy it is. I just have to copy this. So let me quickly sign in. We use Cloudflare, which is a very good service as well, and I hope we'll have our workshop one of these days. I hope so. We don't try. We don't want to. We just want to make sure everybody is able to participate in all the sessions. But it's very difficult. So it may be like a weekend. One of these weekends, I hope we can have a session to just show you, tools, right? Show you some tools. We have like a host of tools, that we've used in the past, and we feel it's good to also introduce you to them, and you can get to learn some of these tools yourself because they are quite easy. So let's see. Um, okay, so I think this is going to be a waste of time. Okay, so yeah, I think unfortunately I was not able to log in for some reasons. Yeah, but it's quite straightforward, right? So all you have to do is add this to your. Why can't I just simply log in? Okay. Okay, it worked. Okay, so all I have to do, of course, add this to your record. I'm going to do this off the screen here. Let's see. So I'm just going to do Amanda. Okay, so this is a TXT record. So of course TXT, and I just have to copy this, and I hope it works. So let's verify. Okay, so we could not verify this. Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, so should be out. Yeah, well, I think probably this will take a while to propagate. I think so. Oh, okay, so that worked. Okay, so it worked now. Yeah, finished. Okay, so we have Amanda.stopuniverse.org, but it still says that this needs setup. So let's click on view. Let's see what we need to do. So we need to add this to our A records. So yeah, Amanda. Yeah, so we're just testing if this would work. Yeah, so maybe it's going to take like a while. I think for some websites, maybe I have to refresh to just see the status because I've added this, and that is basically all you need to do. And I mean, once you add those records, you're good to go. Unfortunately, this is still taking a while. Quick setup, A record. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, but this is all we have to do. I don't know why it's taking a longer time to work, but obviously I believe you get the point. I believe you get the point. This is all you have to do. You add the A record. Just make sure it's not overriding any of your previous records, right? So that's basically all you have to do. Okay, so let's go down a little bit. You can actually do you can actually deploy a specific preview. So you see, you can actually use preview channels to test and share your changes before going live. Just to share with people. You can deploy multiple previews and share the URL with your co-workers. You can add multiple sites because, of course, it supports multiple sites. So we can add a new site in here. Just with a different URL, of course. Okay, so this is it for Firebase hosting. You can check your logs and you can monitor the request to get. Once I click on get started, I'll be able to more like get started with Cloud Loading. I don't know if this is a free feature, but I think it's free for up to 50 gig. I think after that you will probably start paying, but of course, I mean, for a simple project like this, we will not even use up to, yeah. Just remember to delete stuffs when you are done with testing them. Always remember to delete stuffs. So I think you can also do some basic configurations. But probably this should be working already. So let's click on View Cloud Login. Yeah, so I think this should be, this is probably taking me to more like the GCP part of things. This is more like the complex stuff, but just to show your logs in case something goes wrong, you can easily test, right? You can easily see where things are going wrong. So it's giving us more like a metrics, more like a dashboard where we can monitor the several metrics from our website. We don't need to look at this for now. So let me just close this. All right, so that is it. I think next is the Firestore database. If you're familiar with JSON already, you would understand that things like document DB or what they call NoSQL, which is also document DB, of course, is it actually stores data, almost similar to JSON. I won't say it. I don't think I can call it JSON, but I think it's very similar. So the reason why I said I will not be able to explain this to you is because I feel I need to explain some things about JSON. JSON is quite easy to understand, but at the same time, I think it's a good idea if I explain. Let me share this video with you guys so you can watch this also pending the next session we have. So basically, this is a real-time DB, right? So this is a real-time DB for the Cloud Firestore. We can actually set up a real-time database, but I think it's very simple to get started with, right? So straight from the docs as well. Let's go ahead and understand a couple of things regarding key values, key value database options, and I think the best way to explain this is probably by starting up with explaining what JSON is and how JSON works. But of course, you see from the documentation, all I have to do is select if I want to use this with Python. Click on Python. It gives me the package. I click on Node.js. It gives me the package to install. Step by step. The next thing now is to initialize the cloud functions. To initialize Cloud Firestore, I have to use this. So I just click on Node. Okay, yeah, we have Node selected already. So I copy this set of code, initialize this. So just a bunch of things that you just have to follow the documentation, and you would definitely understand how to use it. It's quite simple. Trust me, it's quite simple. But let's start by understanding JSON itself. So where is our, yeah, so this is what we have. So let's just create a new file here. I just want to create a new file here. I'm going to do that, of course, from the terminal. Okay, so I'm going to create a JSON file, and we'll just try to. So this is Amanda, right? Okay. All right. So touch data.json. So we can have that item here. When I zoom in, data. I hope I'm not making a mistake already, just from the beginning. So username, I hope so. I hope I'm not. Okay, so username, marvelous, and let's say password, for example. Okay, so this is a very secure password and my username. All right, so we have this item. Probably I'll just leave it this way. Uh, simply put, JSON means JavaScript object notation, and it's just a way to organize data, right? It's a way to organize data, not specifically to store data. But the amazing thing about this is, the way you can easily use JSON types inside JavaScript, and a lot of platforms have also built systems that you can use to manipulate data, following this format, this kind of key value format. So what we have here, we have a key, we have a value, right? This is the key, this is the value. So whenever you see the username here, they're describing, they're referring to Marvelous, just almost like the variable name and the data, right? So we have password and we have this. So just a quick assumption that you have something like data. The thing about this is you would have to end up having something like this. Yeah. Okay, so this is something even more complex than we saw initially. Initially, the data was like this, but now we just added another layer, and this is referring to data, right? And this data right now is more like the parent to these items, which are more like the children. So if you say data.username, which of course we can't just call that. This is JSON, not JavaScript. Always remember that. But when you say data.username, of course you are referring to Marvelous. When you say data.password, you are referring to this. So how do we get to work with the data like this within JavaScript? So it's quite simple. So what I'm going to do right now is to create a JavaScript file in here. So we have our JavaScript file, which I think we have explained this already anyways, but let's see. So I'm going to do let data, equals, so this is our data, right? Let data equals this. So this is a bunch of item that I need to first, I think I need to first pass this using the default Node.js JSONify. I think that's a JavaScript thing. I don't necessarily think it's Node. I think it's just a JavaScript thing. So let's do console.log data just to see what we have. So, but basically, at the end of the day, once you're about to start using a document DB and Firebase, of course, which is a document DB, your data is going to be structured in this format. So that is why on the documentation here, you see we have something similar, not exactly the way you see it here, but really similar to show you how close it is, right? So this is you're trying to create a record, and I will also explain how the how Firebase gets to interpret or like give meaning to this document. This is referred to as a document. We are going to talk about that. Let's just test this to see if we can log this data directly. So if I do node, I think it's main, yeah. So this is what we have, right? So you see that it's able to automatically convert that. I mean, look at what we put in here. What we had here, this had a string, right? But when we print this out, you see it took off the quotation here. So basically, this is JavaScript, right? This is JavaScript able to interpret this kind of data. So what if we say data.data? I don't know. What do we have? Let's see. Yeah, so you see we're able to get the data, which is this item, right? So when you call data.data, of course, I would have preferred to make this even better. Let's use value, for example. So yeah, I have to do data.value. What happens if I call something that does not exist? It gives us undefined, right? And so I have to do value, value. And now we have this item. So what if we do .value.username, right? So let's see what we have. We have Marvelous. Okay, so basically this is JSON. There are some tools out there you can always use to validate your I mean, this is an object, so don't get me wrong. In JavaScript, this is an object, right? Then in JSON, this is what it looks like. If I click on this, yeah, this is what it looks like. So at the end of the day, that's why it's called JavaScript object notation, because it's very similar, it's very similar. Yeah. Okay, so sometimes you might have to do things like, so let's try to JSONify. I think it's called JSON.pass. So I think that there are some functions. I don't know if this is correct. I don't know. Um, I think it's JSON the pass. Um, oh my god. Okay. So let's see. Aha. Okay. I might be making a mistake, probably coming from another language or something. Another mistake. Okay. Francis, I think you can help me out there. Is it JSON dot pass or JSON dot stringify? I don't know. Username.
25.
What did you say?
Uh,
I can't hear you.
oh,
I can't hear you. JSON dot stringify. Oh, okay. I think that was what I was doing. So where did I go? Oh yeah, so I'm supposed to pass the data, not a single item. Oh, okay, so I was supposed to pass the data. Okay, so what I just did is I converted the object itself back to what it looks like inside here, right? So back to what it looked like inside here. So you can always verify if your JSON is valid or not through some platforms. I usually use JSON formatter, which I'm going to share with you right now as well. So you can drop that item in here, click on validate, then click on format or beautify. Then you can if you have like a chunk of JSON item. So for example, if I go from JSON placeholder, if I go to JSON placeholder, and maybe you kind of like make a request. So for example, we can make a request to this set of to-dos, and it gives us a whole bunch of items here. We can pick these items, put them in. Oh, this is completely wrong. Yeah, so surprised. So if this was not properly arranged, this is arranged already, right? But if this was not properly arranged, you can just pick these items, beautify it in here, select a bunch of options that you can really relate to, can relate to some of these options very well. If you're working on large projects, or when you start working on large projects, you'll see the importance of these items, right? The importance of this kind of tools like JSON formatter. For now, I'm going to share this with you, and in our next session, we would work with the Firebase. We work with the Firebase, the Cloud Firestore. Yeah, we work with the Firestore database. These terms are quite confused at times. The Firestore database. So we would work with, we'll create like our data from a form, and we'll save it in Firestore, right? So just simple front end stuff. Create our form, we save it, we save the data straight from the form, maybe like a to do or something. We save, or maybe like something even more realistic, like a book app or something. So we just have 1 hour sessions, and when I'm coding, I would have to be very fast. So if you have any issues or there's something you did not understand while I was coding, you can drop your question here, or you can always reflect back to the videos. So yeah, so this is what we're going to be working with. I'm just going to share this with you so that you can prepare before the class. If you can ask me a lot of questions after your preparation, that would be nice. I think that would be preferable so that the class can be very interactive. All right, so thank you very much for joining this session. Do have a wonderful night. Till next time. So yeah, for this script, I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to take off like a bunch of configuration from Firebase. So you have to deploy it yourself, make it really interesting. You can reduce these items, put like bunch of categories, cosmetics. I don't know, anything you think would be interesting. Just make it look interesting, make it look responsive. Possibly add a navigation bar if you can, and just share with me. I would love to review and see how far you've gone with your career already. Thank you very much once again, and good night.